Welcome to the Brothers Banter podcast. We are extremely excited that you're here tonight. We got a lot of good stuff going on tonight. And make no mistake, you are not here by accident. God has placed us in your path if you're listening. And we have a lot of good stuff coming on tonight. And actually, Mike is going to give us that information. What's going on, Mike?
Hi, man. So I am super stoked tonight. We're starting a three-part series where the three of us are going to share our testimonies. And tonight we're going to start with my good friend. I met Donny probably about 4 years ago. I know you guys go a lot further back, but Donny and I met at work 4 years ago and began a working relationship. But here for about the last 8 months, it has been my privilege to become even closer to you guys. So you guys listen up. Donnie's gonna share some really awesome stuff with us tonight. Right to you, sir.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely glad to be here. It is probably going to be emotional, as we well know. A lot of things happen over the years. I can tell you that I became saved at the age of 12. I was at Wingate Road Baptist Church. Me and my best friend at the time, Ronnie, we were probably in the fifth or sixth grade, something like that. And we had been best friends since third grade. And it lasted up until he passed away in 2019, I think it was. And we, my mom kept me in church as a kid. I went to, gosh, I guess Brian, your church was over on Pearl Street. We kind of figured out the other day that uh, North Jacks was on Pearl Street. I went there as a youngster, like, real young, and then was able to move to First Baptist Church because they had a bus. My mom worked like three or four jobs, and I was a latchkey kid, and um, we we just we just did it. I mean, she had to work three jobs just to support us, and my father did not participate in anything. He was in New York, and we were down here, and so uh, yeah. So she was the sole caregiver. I mean, she had a lot of help from my Aunt Judy. It was really my second mom than anything else. Then my aunt. She guided me, and um, so we we all have men that have been in our lives that planted the seed of Christ in us. And I think the first person to do that was Bruce Wells. You guys have heard of the Big Brother, Big Sisters program. My mom put me in that, and I met Bruce and Nancy Wells, two of the most kindest people I ever met in my entire life. Like, they were just uh, amazing people. Um, Went to church with them all the time, like Southside Estates Baptist Church, and uh, even though they lived off of Duval Road and Lanny Road out in that area, they still went to that church. Well, um, I grew out of that and started working for the sheriff's office. But in between that time, I was not a churchgoer at all. From Bruce on till I was probably in the mid to late '80s when I became, I graduated '83. Um, so after that, I wasn't in church. I definitely had moved away from God. Fast forward, I think to, gosh, I'm trying to think, '89 or '90. Uh, Steve Effler and I became friends. Um, and that's another guy that planted the seed of Christ in me. I guess before that would have been Bradshaw. I did, yeah. When I worked for the sheriff's office, he and I, we did a lot of dumb things as young men do, and drinking, clubbing, womanizing. Just, am I proud of it? Heck no. Is it part of my past? Yeah, it is. But I'm not proud of it whatsoever. But it is part of my past, and it is part of my testimony because it's what led me here today. So moved on. Then we got me and Steve hooked up, and then I guess I'm trying to think. Brian, was it 99 or 2000 when I came out to Jack's Beach and
I would say
you
it's
were
probably, I would say, I don't know, because my son was probably what, knee high back then. So, and he was born in 99. So he was at
okay?
least probably 3 to 4 years old out there, at least, probably four.
Okay, so I know I got out there in like 2002.
Okay.
Not later than I don't think later than that.
Okay.
But um, and you know how I was initially. I came in like gangbusters and just my mouth was horrendous, because it was F this, F that, GD this, GD that. And then one day I walked in and you had your Bible sitting on the on your desk, and I was like, wow. And I think conviction hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I'm not gonna lie, it was like, wow. I feel like right off the rip, I stopped cussing. Like I really feel like I did not cuss. If I did cuss, I was probably mad, But I feel like from that point on, cuss words were just not in my vocabulary, and that's because of you and your illumination of God in in my presence. I can tell you that, and I'm thankful for that. So at that point, a few years later, got married, and um, you know, my ex-wife was in the church, back when she was, younger, um, and once she moved, to Florida, all that went out the window. So we decided that we're going to start going to church right around 2011. And that's when I got involved with New Journey Church. Uh, one of the one of the best pastors I've ever had the privilege of knowing, Ken Bish. Um, he really was. He broke it down for me to understand the Bible. Like when he taught, when he preached, he did it in a way where he explained everything, and it made things better for me. So then I got away again from church, from God. A lot of things in my life going on. You two are very versed in what was going on in my life, but fast forward to 2018. A lot of things happened in 2018. I had a stroke, or like a TIA, which I think was a wake up call from God. It was like, listen, this is how quickly that I can call you home, you know. Um, so I need you to start acting right, So that's when we started going to 1122 church, and went there for a year or so. In the meantime, some things that happened after my stroke. My best friend Ronnie passed away. Y'all remember the little baby that we had taken in as to help the mom and the baby out. That baby died, um, 10 days old, and that was a huge trigger, and it's still that way to this day. Like, that baby had a lot of love from my family. We had him on Christmas. His name was Dominic. We had him on Christmas that year, and then he passed away shortly after that. Fast forward to 21, that my cousin slash brother Davy passed away uh, August 5th, and then August 7th. 2 days later, uh, my now ex-wife decided she was, going to move on, and, fine. Um, right after that, Brian, I don't think we've ever dialed it down to an actual date, but I know for a fact that it was either September or it was October. Um, I was going through it. Like, I was. I feel like we need to probably preface this by saying, this is about to be a trigger for some people. So just hang on. It does get better. But it was one night I was just going through it, man. And I was high as I could be. I was drunk. I drank probably a whole bottle, smoked probably 2 joints. I mean, I was done with life. And I had a gun in my mouth, and was just sitting there contemplating, should I do it? If I do it, it's going to be ugly. My kids are going to, suffer. My parents are going to suffer. Um, that kind of stuff. And that's probably what held me off at the moment. But then the phone rang, and it was you. And like I said, I still had the gun in my mouth, still contemplating. Um, and you never called in the evening like that. We never spoke in the evening ever.
Yeah, and it was back to back because you
It
didn't
was
answer the
so
first time.
right. So really, it was probably back to back. It was probably 3, maybe 4 times. So finally, I looked at the phone. I was like, guys, stop. So I picked the phone. I said, "What?" And you're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing. What's going on?" And you normally our conversations don't last but 3 or 4 minutes, when it's like back then. Um, and you wouldn't let me go. I'm like, all right, well, I'll talk to you later. Well, man, what else? What else? Is there something we need to talk? Whatever the conversation was, I don't remember the whole conversation, but you wouldn't shut up. You wouldn't leave me alone like I wanted you to, and because I had a job to do. I mean, that's just all there was to it. The devil had tasked me with that, and that's just all there is to it. And God intervened that night. So pretty much sobered up after we hung up, and we you didn't know anything. You didn't know what I was going through at the time. You knew what I was dealing with, but you didn't know what I was going through at that moment. Like, you didn't know that things were about to get ugly had you not called, and whatever made you call, mean, I know it was God, you know. Um, so fast forward, I guess, to March. It might even been later. I'm trying to think. It might have been April. Um,
March.
was it
You
March?
you
I
talking
know it
about
was your birthday, but
you talking
yeah,
about my podcast?
yeah.
It was my birthday weekend.
Okay. So we had a very special guest on, Sean Portwood, who at the time had he had a book out. I'm sure he still has it out, called Collateral Beauty.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. An amazing book. And so I brought something with me to that podcast that day, and I after the interview with Sean was done, I said I had something to say, so I went through the entire thing. And you didn't know what was going on. You had no idea what I was doing, what I had done. But after we hung up that night, what could have been a fateful night, I jacked the round out of the pipe, and I put it in my pocket, and I brought that round with me that day, and I gave you that round and explained to you why I was giving that round to you. Now that was a very emotional time, as we well know, and it
Just just to interrupt you for a quick second. This round,
yep,
I've
yep,
got it
that's it,
still.
yep,
I keep it on my desk.
yep. So at this point, that February, um, I met the most amazing woman in my entire life, and that's February 14th. Um, and then that April, we met face to face. We met online, you know. And so my wife Wendy, and she has been a huge part of my emotional healing in these 4 years that we've been together. And we got engaged um, May 25th of 22, got married September 4th of 22, and we're still going strong. You know, her family planted the church uh, up here, so we after we got married, I moved to Brunswick, where all of her family is, and they have been absolutely amazing as well. You know, her her grandparents, I think, and her dad planted this church, if I'm saying that correctly. Uh, and it's a great little church, man. Like you know, I'm more involved in church behind the scenes than I ever have been. I want to say back in 23, our pastor passed away, and that gave us men at that church a chance to stand in and preach. And I had I'd started off doing communion and offering, and I'd never done that my entire life, and I was scared to death, you know, because in my mind I felt like I had to be somebody different than Donny Merriday. Um, but you just regardless of what you're doing, you come as you are, and that's what I did, you know. And I poured my heart out that first time I ever did communion and offering, and then the very first time I ever preached, you were there, you and your family were there, um, and which, you know, that's a long drive, man. Yeah, I can't tell you how much I appreciated that. But now I have 10 sermons under my belt, and I love every minute of it. I love it. I love doing communion and offering. You know, last year I was nominated for um, vice president of the church camp. You know, and I've never been part of, you know, on the executive board. I've never been a part of anything like that before, and I didn't know how to act. My pastor just said, "Well, Donny will do it," you know, and there I did. So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it," you know. So, um, but have there been times that I want to just, you know, walk away? Yeah, but I can't, because when I say walk away, I'm talking about like walk away from the behind the scenes. Like I just want to go there, be in the congregation, and listen to the word, go home. You know, but that's not what we're called to do. Um, God made you make that phone call that night to bring us here, even today, because He knew that I had more in me than what I was given. You know, so yeah. So now here we are, the three of us, you know, doing this podcast, and all of us have a different story. All of them are very important, and if we could just reach one person, just one, and I mean, the devil's been fighting this one. He's been fighting this podcast, you know, for what, 2 weeks now,
Yep.
and it's been, but God won, and he wins in the end. And you know, the fact that the devil, you know, devil knows that he's going to lose, and he's already lost, you know, and he just, but if he can take more souls with him, then that's, you know, that's his goal. But he ain't taking mine. He ain't taking yours and Mike's, you know, and
Amen.
we just, we just need to help facilitate and bring souls to Jesus. And by doing this podcast, I feel like that's what God has us ready to do.
Well, thank you, Donnie, for your testimony. And like I think Mike said, that we've got a 3-week testimony thing. So next week will be Mike's. The following week, Lord willing, I better say that first, because the last week we weren't able to be online. But Lord willing, Mike will be next week, and I'll be the week after. And
I'm
then,
looking forward to both of those.
so we will kind of sprinkle people from time to time, people maybe we come across that want to share their testimony. We'll have that online, and we'll have different topics about, you know, us as brothers in Christ getting together, talking about the struggles that we have. And so, Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot. You don't know about this.
Okay.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. So I did think about this a couple days ago, and it just didn't hit me until a few minutes ago. Can you give us, so each and every week, I think I'm gonna have each one of us share like a verse of the week, maybe. So could you possibly pull? If you can't, I'm good. I can pull one out. Can you pull one out of your head or no?
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you
so
want?
I'm
What kind of verse you want?
so you pick. It's the verse of the
Well,
week. So
listen.
we're coming to you for that.
All right. So, thinking about even just your journey, Donnie, back in Jeremiah, when the Israelites were in captivity, God gave a promise in Jeremiah 29:11. He says, I know the thoughts I think toward you, the thoughts of good, to prosper, to give you an expected end. And I think that's exactly what God's doing in your life, as well as hopefully through this podcast, is that He's the author and giver of all good things. He is going to overcome, as in the comments that we see that the battle's already been won. God knows what's going to happen, and He's going to pull us through this. He's got a plan, and if He's going to bless this podcast, He's going to bless it as He's blessing all of our lives.
Great. I love that verse. Great verse. So we will be on here, our if schedule permits, we will be here next Thursday night at 7 p.m. So keep in mind any prayer requests you may have, you can drop them in the comments. You don't have to tell us a reason why. You can just simply put, well, I guess if you make a comment, you can, your name's already on there. But if you just say, pray for me or pray for, you can put something in there. We also are on live, where Facebook and YouTube, as well as the Brothers Banter podcast at gmail.com. You can leave a message that you want to drop in there for us. And I think even on Buzzsprout, you can hit the text link and it will send us a text of maybe a name or a prayer request or something you would like for us to pray about. And we would be glad to do so. So with that being
100%.
said, I am going to close this out. Very excited. Donnie, thank you for your testimony. Mike,
Thanks
thank you
for letting
for
me
being
give
here
it.
as well. So I love both of you. I love, the fact that we're coming together, and I'm excited on what God has for the future for us. So
Yeah,
with
me
that
too.
being
Amen.
said, until next time, we'll catch you next week.
God bless.